A strengthening statement should address the inherent weakness in the reasoning and eliminate it or provide additional relevant information supporting the conclusion. Strengthening versus assumptions. Assumptions fill the missing link and must be true, whereas strengthening must simply fill the missing link. If you have understood assumptions really well, strengthening questions are only an easier version of the assumptions questions because in strengthening questions, the only factor you have to look for is that the missing link is addressed. You don't have to look for that additional must be true criteria that you need to check in case of assumptions questions. Let's take an explanatory example. The same example that we took in the assumptions session. The GDP of Zatoria has grown by 15% during the tenure of the current political party. Hence, the party has done a good job and deserves another term. The missing link is, of course, between the 15% GDP growth and the conclusion that the party has done a good job. Let's look at some answer choices and decide whether they fit as fine strengthening statements. GDP growth is an important factor in deciding the performance of a political party. See, the entire argument is based on GDP growth, and if GDP growth is an important factor, then the missing link is addressed. This statement, strengthens the conclusion. Look at this one. During tenure of no previous government, the GDP grew by more than 10%. See, this also fills the missing link. If no previous government gave a GDP growth of more than 10%, and the current government has given a 15% growth, this is tending to strengthen the conclusion. This would not qualify as a good assumption statement because it is not something that has to be true for the conclusion to hold. But this is a fine strengthening statement. This also works. Look at this one. The government played an important role in achieving the growth in GDP. This statement helps in drawing a cause-effect relationship, and therefore this is also strengthening the conclusion. Remember, don't look for validation. Don't look for an answer choice that would validate an argument. That would rarely happen. Strengthening means that the conclusion should be strengthened. It need not be validated. So please don't look for validation. That would happen very, very rarely. This answer choice strengthens the conclusion and qualifies as a fine strengthening statement. Look at this one now. None of the other similar economies witnessed a growth of more than 12% in GDP during the same tenure. Since the term similar economies has been used, it means an analogy has been drawn, and then the comparison has been made, and therefore the comparison is valid. Now, if similar economies did not grow by more than 12%, and this country's economy has grown by 15%, then the conclusion that the party has done a good job is strengthened. Remember, it is not validated, but we are not looking for validation on the first place. This is a fine strengthening statement, although it will not qualify as a fine assumption statement because this is not something that has to be true for the argument to hold. This was the concept, friends. GMAT shots are deliberately kept brief. For an elaborate explanation, please watch the Stage 1 conceptual videos in our program. Thanks for watching.